Chris, we've been invited by an IT manager to speak to him regarding a tech refresh, where his challenges are to look at virtualizing his infrastructure with a focus to increase his service level to the business.
Okay, so in principle, virtualization, certainly virtualizing as much as you can is going to help, but there's some things that we need to be very careful when we go back and talk to him, and that is that when you virtualize all of these physical servers, you put them in a virtual environment, there's another layer of complexity that I have to manage, and to quantify that. Before, when I had a single instance running on a server, I had a couple of network connections, I maybe had a couple of fibre channel connections. And if I had some sort of enterprise management tool, I had a third network connection for out-of-band management. When you look at virtual infrastructures, it starts to get a bit more complicated, because I've still got to have the same two network connections for client traffic. Actually, I'm probably going to need more now because I've got more traffic because I've got more instances. I still need the same fibre channel, but now I need a management connection because I still need to manage the basic server. I also now need some sort of management connection for the hypervisor to talk to the instances through. So, what turned into a 2+2 or maybe a 2+1 environment is now 6 and 2. And so when I add all that complexity in terms of the switching and the virtual networking that I've got to create using the virtual infrastructure, add into that I need an additional piece of software that we call a hypervisor, that in itself is another version of the operating system I've got to manage. And then the additional consoles that I need around the building to manage the infrastructure as well. We're layering complexity onto an environment that may have an impact on service levels. So the goal of virtualization typically is to reduce physical footprint, maybe to reduce facilities bills, certainly to reduce management overhead and management time. Whether we can truly say it will deliver on an increased service quality message really will depend on which applications you put in there, and also which tools you're going to use to manage it going forward. I mean, if you look at a lot of the customers that we're talking to at the moment, the level of virtualization they've got to, even with a virtualization strategy, is still less than 50% of the environment. I think what's going to be more important for organisations like this is to think about, I'm still going to have physical, virtual where I can, and physical where it doesn't fit, not certified, not supported, not performance, etc. But it's that convergence they need to get to. The ability to have a single set of resources that are managing, that are running virtual and physical, and the ability to swap between the two. So the ability to have a server, one day that's running a virtual infrastructure, supporting various applications, that maybe at the end of the month I switch to be a reporting server for my my financial period end, and that's the convergent piece that we're concentrating on now, with all the platforms that we're developing. And actually, you could say it's not new for us because we started this in 2003, specifically around SAP.
So specifically for his challenge obviously is to address service levels, to increase them, to give more value back to the business and what he does. So what would be the key components then we've advised him to take? We've agreed that maybe virtualization is one component of that. What are the other components that we can add specifically to address his requirements?
So virtualization, great first step, no doubt about that. And whether you talk about server virtualization or server consolidation, or you talk about application virtualization or data center virtualization, the key point is that as a desire, as part of my strategy, virtualization should be at the forefront of it, and everything I do over time should fall in line with that strategy. Okay, but what we would say is you don't confuse virtualization with server consolidation. So the other things that I've got to think about to drive service quality and to drive service level are around integration with the application, and automating processes and automated tools that will deploy, redeploy, automated failover, etc., etc. So it's part of those three pieces of a strategy. Virtualization, absolutely part of it, but unless it has elements of integration and automation, there is a risk that it won't deliver on the real virtualization dream, which is that agility, continuity, and efficiency that businesses are looking for from their IT systems.
So which are the products that actually address that automation and make increased service levels a reality?
So from a Fujitsu perspective, customers that are embracing server virtualization and have maybe minimal number, or going to result in minimal numbers of physical instances, be they having a virtualization layer on top of them or not. Then we have a number of products that we've been working on for a few years now in that space. One of them's called Extensio. And Extensio is a tool that will allow you to have an N+1 environment for both physical and virtual. So a number of physical containers, number of virtual containers, one spare. And if any of these suffer some sort of service outage, we'll automatically bring that instance up on the spare resource. Sitting above that, we've got another product called Resource Coordinator that will not only do that, but it will then also allow you to manage your virtual infrastructures without necessarily using your virtual tool. So it will allow you to deploy new virtual infrastructures, new physical infrastructures. It will allow you to instigate a movement of virtual resources across your virtual infrastructure. It will also allow you to move a physical instance from box A to box B, or be that through an application restart. But then in terms of where we have specific application sets like Oracle and SAP, we have these solutions called FlexFrame, which allow you to do pretty much everything you can do in a virtual infrastructure with physical instances for Oracle and SAP. These are designed to reduce the server count, increase service level and service quality, but more importantly, reduce the management overhead. And then lastly, for more generic applications where we don't have decent management interfaces, as we do with SAP and Oracle and Microsoft, we have a product called Processing Area Network that allows us to do, again, all the things that a virtual infrastructure will let me do, but for physical instances. And that's really targeted at migrating customers off proprietary Unix or proprietary RISC systems onto a more open standard system.
So we have some products that deliver measurable benefit in terms of reducing the complexity and obviously making it easier to then deliver increased service levels.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all live. We both live in a world that's heavily dominated by technology. But at the end of the day, people make technology decisions based on some sort of business or commercial payoff. And all of the solutions that we have driven have measurable, demonstrable total cost of ownership reductions. And we're talking of the order of 60% or more in some cases.